Good morning. 60 gang. Well, I don't know why I chose Forest Park, Georgia, but I give these people the benefit of the doubt because they're my peoples. Good morning, 60 gang. It's your boy Doug. Thursday, June 12th, 2025. Good morning to those who woke up with me to be in the presence of the Lord. Happy birthday to those born today, June 12th, and my condolences go out to those who did not wake up with us. Yeah, so what had happened was I come out here to look at a washing machine that, what she said? She said, her tub is filled with water, so I'm thinking the clog, just unclog the drain. But it said Forest Park. I get it. I mean, I see what my white competitors be saying. You can pretty much in Atlanta look at the customer who's calling, what they have, what's their complaint, and what city they live in. Just by knowing that information, you can tell whether they got some money to pay for it or not. And me, like a dummy, I took the benefit of the doubt and assumed maybe white people might be wrong. Nope. So I'm out here in Forest Park, and I knew I was in trouble when she called me back. I called yesterday to confirm the service call, right? I knew I was in trouble. She already wanted me to tell her what was wrong with it before I even got to the goddamn house. That's when I said, oh, she's broke. Ain't got the money. But then I tried to tell her, I was like, well, I got to get there first before I can be able to tell you anything. So I was going to record it with my new device, but I knew I wasn't going to be in there long. So I went in there and I assessed the unit, and I knew where we had to start. First, we had to get the water out. And then her son came out there and he said, well, we had put a quilt in there when this all happened. Red flag. I knew it caught because of the quilt. I said, that's going to be around $253 plus tax, $267.90. And she called her man. And that was the end of that. He don't even have two nickels to rub together. She said, I got the other half, you got the other half. And I was like, Lord, I ain't even bother to open my toolbox when she said she got the other half. I said, neither one of them got two nickels to rub together. So I tried to trust them, but here's the neighborhood. Here, I said, these motherfuckers ain't got no money. What am I doing here? And it sure is right. Now my competitors, they have certain towns that they do not come to because of the environment lets them know economically they don't have the money. And this is Forest Park, y'all. This is an apartment complex off of 75 South Forest Park, just past the Porsche car dealership. And when I got here, I'm still like, maybe, they paying rent, but, they call Post. And Post called me, and the labor is $253 plus tax, which brings it to $267.90. And that's to see if that's just to do labor, not to if it need parts. That climbs up to $284. So I'm trying to do bare minimum. I ain't even bother to bring my wet dry vac in, because I said if they not gonna pay, I ain't even gonna bother to drain it. You know what I'm saying? And sure enough, I heard him, I ain't got no money for that. I said, well, I guess I said to myself, I'm glad I didn't motherfucker drain all that water out for nothing. I knew it from the time I got in there. I said, leave my tools. This motherfucker ain't got no money. And You know, you don't want to say that, but damn, it turned out to be true. Man, shit. It turned out to be true. Oh well. Too bad. Well, that's back to my side of town. So they don't like coming to Forest Park. They don't like coming to Jonesboro. They don't like coming there. Excuse me. Will I be able to get out here?
Yes,
Okay.
so you will.
I'm just making sure. Thank you.
Hey,
Yeah.
if you don't open, just push it out.
Just push it out.
No.
Here's my card if you ever need me. I repair appliances around here.
You repair furniture?
Appliances, refrigerator, dishwasher. If you ever need a good price, I'm your guy. Low price. All right.
So you just repair them? You
Yeah, I just repair.
You don't sell it?
Nah, too much problems.
Too
I
much?
come in, fix it, and I'm gone. But if you ever need me,
All right.
have a blessed day.
Same to you.
Best prices in town.
Have a good one.
Yes, sir. Cause I ain't got no money. I don't have no time if you ain't got no money. And this is right off 85. So I gave this couple the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully I can prove my white competitors wrong. And here I am wasting my freaking time in Forest Park with these broke ass niggas. And here I am. Oh well, we gave it a try. But I don't come out unless I'm gonna get paid. I got paid for the trip charge, but I was not gonna do all that work and they ain't had no money. So that's why I was making sure to save myself some time. I'll buy you another one. Yep, guess I'll go home. No money, no honey. That's what they say. She said no money, no honey. Motherfuckers flying on the axis, man. I knew it. I tried to give it a benefit of the doubt, and no dice. They broke. You can't make them get money they don't have.
For people with severe back pain who didn't find relief with medications, injections, or back surgery.
She was a worker for the business that allegedly didn't exist. They were trafficking drugs, sex work, prostitution. Nice to see you this morning. Good morning. A business that did not exist. Janice Combs, Combs
LLC.
Enterprises, children, what's going to happen with Bad Boy Enterprises?
Fake LLC.
What's going to happen here? The dismantling of Bad Boy after a conviction?
Like
do we even get a
Row.
conviction? I think so.
I think so.
I really do.
Lose his business LLC.
So we're setting everything up as we talk. We'll see who comes in to court today. And we'll play play-by-play.
Play-by-play.
And hopefully my voice comes back. Appreciate all of you for spending the time and hanging out with us, me and Magnolia, as we discuss this trial. The ins and outs. I wonder how Diddy's feeling. Apparently what has been happening too that we have not really talked about was what I've learned was in the last week, Diddy and his lawyers, some of his lawyers, would stay in the courtroom after court is done. And the judge leaves, and Prosecutor Comey and the prosecution team, the 6 women on the prosecution team, they leave. Diddy stays behind in that courtroom, guarded by the U.S. Marshal. Now, we talked about that briefly last week, but this has been going on for 5 days now. He stays there till about 7 p.m. Then they take him back to the Metropolitan Detention Center. He's been hanging out with his lawyers in the courtroom after court is over, discussing Jane's testimony, discussing the text and their strategy. Darla, good morning. Good morning. But I am curious about KK, because if KK was to testify, you really think you'd get KK done in time by next Wednesday or Friday? Most of these major, and KK's a major player, I want her to testify. I hope she testifies. I hope the prosecution brings her in as a surprise wild card here. She's a co-conspirator, an agent, and she knows everything. And if she doesn't testify, what does that mean? Does that mean she's going to face her own trial down the line? Washington Post report: a federal employee is wiping down benches and screens and making sure the computers used for evidence are in order as we get ready for the second day of the Sean Combs trial. The usual line of spectators is waiting to enter the courtroom. At the close of the trial Wednesday, prosecutors said they would probably call their final witnesses sometime next week, at which point the defense gets its turn. The question on everyone's mind is whether the trial will run past July 4th weekend. That will depend on how many witnesses Combs' team calls and how long the jury deliberates. So we might be here through July 4th, up to July 4th, a little bit past July 4th. But at this point, the mountains and mountains of evidence against Diddy goes back to, like, how many people can he have to testify and who can he even bring? Another rumor that is circulating, I'm talking about rumor mill, is some of Diddy's family might be called as witnesses. Some of his family members, defense witnesses, possibly some people from his defense team called as witnesses. And also, there's rumors that some rappers or someone in this industry will be testifying for Diddy. We haven't talked about that very much. Who could testify on his end? Who could it be? He's gonna have to bring somebody, unless he wants to spend all week himself on the stand. Defense. I'm ready for the defense witnesses. I'm reading the comments. I'm ready for the defense witnesses to see who comes up that could help Diddy in any way, shape, or form. Undermine the prosecution's case. Who could that be? And will it work? Remember, anyone that Diddy brings up, subject to cross by the prosecution. Seems like the prosecution is running a very tight ship and knows what they're doing here. I'm not so sure the defense knows what they're doing here, because listening to them cross, particularly Jane, makes me like, huh? Really? What's going on here? Like, why aren't you really attacking what matters? They're going after kind of ridiculous things when it comes to Jane. Okay, she wanted bags, and she wanted some of the freak offs. How's that discredit the RICO? How's that discredit the sex trafficking and the prostitution? I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it at all. So we shall see. KK, could she testify for Diddy? Have we ever considered that? That Diddy brings KK on and says denial. That's a possibility too. Doubtful. That's a possibility. Court yesterday was a long day with Jane Doe on the stand. She just basically talked about hotel nights, the breaks in the relationship, birthday gifts, Turks and Caicos. She talked about, you know, the meetups with Diddy, Sly. If I was a betting man, I would bet that Sly might be testifying for the prosecution against Diddy to corroborate Jane Doe. Has to be one of the escorts here. So it's either Don, Paul,
Maybe
Anton, Sly, the Italian. Don't forget the Italian. There's an Italian out there. Has to be somebody there. I feel like the prosecution is going to bring on to the stand. Now, does anyone know who Andre Lamaze is? I couldn't really find any connection to that name, if it's even spelled right. That appears to be the next person, followed by Jonathan Perez, which I feel is the assistant. But is this guy an escort? Is he an entertainer? Who is he? Who is this Lamaze guy, Andre Lamaze? Does anyone have any idea who this guy could be? Because this appears to be the next person that's going to go, and I'm trying to find something on this guy. Anyone know? Andre Lamaze? Andre, some type of expert? People are saying in the chat. Expert? What type of expert? Followed by Jonathan Perez. They said Andre Perez and Miss Sankar. Sankar I believe, is like some sort of, I think she's going to bring graphs and charts. Probably some sort of law enforcement expert when it comes to maybe like digital forensics, maybe phone stuff. We shall see. I'm shocked that there's really no feed out there. Usually,
You have a message.
other people are out there, but we don't have anyone out there this morning. Well, if not, we'll do it like we do here. I'm sure they'll get something out there, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll see what's outside the courtroom. We'll see who arrives. We'll see the feed. Maybe everyone is now focused on riots and protesting, and they abandoned Diddy. We haven't. No, it's gonna get this trial. Again, I'm tired of Jane, but I am interested to know what each and every one of the next person says when it comes to this. Come on in. Prosecutors want a juror removed. Don't forget about the juror. Juror number 6. Juror number 6. Judge could be addressing that issue today, tomorrow, or by the weekend. Juror number 6, lack of candor. Prosecutors say juror number 6 lacks candor, lack of candor, which is not being truthful and honest. It appears Diddy and juror 6 got something going on. Possibly some sort of eye contact between the both. Diddy might have been sending eye signals to juror number 6, and it has raised the attention from the prosecutor, who wants juror number 6 removed. Can they just do that? I mean, how does the prosecution know that juror number 6 would already be biased right from the get-go? Maybe juror number 6 just been hearing this stuff, and during the course of this trial, juror number 6 started having sympathy for Diddy, or felt like Diddy was innocent, but went in originally with an open mind. Because during the case, in any trial, jurors are supposed to be impartial, and they go in there, and honestly, some jurors already make their mind up on opening arguments or opening statements. And right there, before anyone even testifies, they already have an idea of how they're thinking. It appears the prosecution thinks that juror 6 is going to find Diddy not guilty already for whatever reasons, and they're trying to have a juror removed. Is that fair? As much as you feel Diddy's guilty, is that fair for the defendant to just have a juror removed? A prosecutor sees that might be looking like they're not going to find Diddy guilty or be a problem. Jury deliberation, juror number 6 could sit there and just be a nuisance. Nope, not guilty, not guilty. Everyone around the jury, guilty, guilty, guilty. Juror number 6, not guilty. Nope, nope, nope. He didn't do it. He didn't do it. He's innocent. Juror number 6, everyone else around there, guilty, guilty, guilty. Juror 6, nope, I don't care. I don't care. He's not guilty. He's not guilty. I don't care. And then, boom. One juror, as Suge Knight said, one juror. Takes one juror, folks. One juror. Doesn't mean Diddy goes home. He ain't going home. But one juror. Maybe 2. But one juror, juror 6. What happens here, folks, if the judge denies the prosecution's request to remove juror number 6? What would happen? Mistrial? Even though the prosecution has been laying this case, you really think the prosecution wants to go round 2? They will. But that means Cassie, Mia, Capricorn Clark, Jane Doe would all have to come and testify again. Everything they did. That's grueling testimony. Imagine putting the victims back up on the stand. So there's a lot of different things that happen in federal courtrooms, different than normal state courts. On top of most state courts have cameras in the courtroom. There are none on the federal level, which means there's a lot of things that probably go on in federal courthouses that we don't know about. Tactics used. There already have been complaints by journalists about things not being filed, exhibits not being shown to the public, photographs not being seen by the public, only between the parties and the jury. Makes people say, what happened to a open court? Courts are supposed to be open, right? Courts, we're supposed to see everything. Personally, with my own experience within the federal system, that's how it's designed. It is a pro-prosecution favorable proceeding here. And even though a defendant can be 100% guilty, it's almost inevitable that they will be found guilty. The odds are so much against any defendant that dares takes their case to federal trial. Federal trial. Don't you dare take your case to federal trial. We will move the goal line, the goal posts, if need be, in the course of a trial. And that could be what's going on with juror number 6. I think Diddy's 100% guilty. For sure. But is it fair to cheat? Is the prosecution trying to cheat here? By getting rid of someone here? Juror number 6? Know what I mean? Some people might say they're cheating. Well, we shall see. We shall see. But he should have took the plea. That's the bottom line here, in my opinion. Do you really get a fair trial on a federal level? I don't know if his lawyers will talk about that or make those allegations. I'm sure when there is a conviction here that they'll say he didn't receive a fair trial because of, they're going to say the jury makeup, maybe the exclusion of juror 6, them putting the prosecution pushing deadlines on their witnesses that put pressure on the defense, the testimony of some of these victims and witnesses, the denials of mistrial. They already asked for 2 mistrials. Will we get 3? Very hard to get a mistrial in the middle of a trial by prosecutorial misconduct. Doesn't happen very often. You got to do something very, very egregious. Combs is back in the courtroom this morning wearing the same orange sweater and khaki pants from yesterday. Oh, he's wearing the same clothes as yesterday.
That's a first.
Does he not change his clothes? When he walked into the courtroom, he hugged members of his defense team. I gotta get my voice back. My goodness. Be good back in the next couple of days, hopefully. All right, so he's back in the courtroom, folks. This morning. So he's in nerd defense. That's right. That's something we learned. Diddy's putting up a nerd defense. Nerd defense. What's the nerd defense? We might be here to 5 o'clock today. No, I don't think so. I think we're probably here to 3. I take that back. Because they were talking about Jane Doe. They wanted to keep it at 5. But Jane Doe is going to be off the stand this morning. She's done. Probably whisked out a back door. Jumped onto a plane. And she's out. Peace out. She's gone. I have no idea why there isn't a feed outside that courthouse this morning. Looking. While people start piling in. They'll get started here at about 9. Diddy's back in the courtroom. I hope KK testifies. But I'm starting to doubt it. Starting to doubt KK. She might have just, maybe they don't even feel like they want to use her. But they could. But they feel like it's going so well. One indication that also is that I feel like the prosecution feels like this is a slam dunk case against Diddy and a conviction is coming, is they're cutting down their witnesses. There was talk at the beginning of this trial. How could she not testify? I agree. I want her to testify. Bring her in. Spill the beans. It's like gossip and drama, and I want to know it all. Spill the tea. I want to know what happened. I want to know the truth from the inner workers. KK has all the dirty the feds need. They have it. They have it. But the question is, do they feel like bringing KK on could sabotage their case somewhere? Do they trust KK on the stand? Even though it's most likely that KK has flipped, proffered immunity, but do they feel like the case is so strong right now that they wouldn't need to bring KK on, even though they could? Because they said they're cutting down the witness list. Gina's not testifying, and they're not even, it doesn't appear they're pursuing Gina at all. They so-called can't find Gina. I also think some people got cut down that was supposed to corroborate what Gina would say. Every single one of these people, particularly victims in this case, they bring others to corroborate and that either witnessed something that happened to the victim or to corroborate the timeline. Every single one of them. I think so, Bana. Bana corroboration was text, photographs, exhibits. Every single one of these people have testified. The government has submitted something, whether it's another witness or exhibit, graph, chart, document, photograph, text, video, audio recording, something. But they did find things on KK's phones, 2 phones. And some of that stuff on her phones have been used in this trial. So with that, wouldn't you think they would have to either bring the agent on the stand that got KK's devices to corroborate that, or KK herself? I just feel like if you're gonna, if they feel like the case is gonna wrap up next week, they're running out of time for KK. She's an important key. And she has to be on the stand, I would think, for 2 days just for the prosecution, maybe a day, and then maybe the day for a defense to cross. So it's possible KK comes on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Never too strong not to bring the most important witness. Also with Diddy, their strategy might be not to bring on any witnesses on his end. Sometimes the defense rests right away without even the defendant testifying, without any bringing anybody, if they feel the case against them is weak. That has happened. Sometimes the defense don't bring anybody. But in this case, Diddy's going to have to bring on somebody. He's going to have to bring on somebody, unless the strategy is just appeal. For now. Because I can't see a winning strategy here. I don't see Diddy coming out of this, in this trial, walking away a free man. And I believe his defense knows that. So work for a mistrial, work for an appeal, but not work for the actual acquittal. How are you going to get an acquittal? Can anyone explain how you're going to get an acquittal? Consensual adults, private life, that's it. Juneteenth, I don't believe there's court on that date. Don't believe there's court. But we'll find out for sure. Magnolia will let me know that. Court dates. See a lot of people starting to come in. No idea why there's not a court feed outside the court, but we're here. Diddy's in court. And what's going on with this phone being found? A phone has been found. Talk to me about this phone. What's going on with a phone being found, folks? What are you hearing? What's the buzz with the phone? Talk to me. What's new evidence? New evidence? See the pinned comment? New evidence? Smoking gun evidence? Dun dun dun. In that phone. All the dirty little secrets of Diddy. Hiding phones from the feds. Sounds like an obstruction of justice. Yeah, I saw that phone stuff. Rumors. Talk to me more about it.
Damn, it looks like it's gonna rain again.
They submitted something on the 9th, which is why they had the meeting in the robing room. Yeah, the robing room incident happened on Monday. That's where it was talked, but I believe the robing room, based off the report by one of the media outlets, it was centered around juror number 6 in reference to the robing room, where once they left the robing room, all the parties went huddled with one another. The media used the robing room as juror number 6, the issue with the jury. What's going on with the phone? You know, there's an article that came back in 2024. Sean Diddy Combs' phone available for sale. Disgraced mogul's phone found discarded in studio. Sean Diddy Combs' phone has allegedly surfaced on the black market. Phones. A phone found containing a 3-year backup of messages, call logs, photos, and other data.
That was a clone. Somebody cloned his phone.
Found in a recording studio.
Everything he did, somebody cloned it.
Is that what's going on? Is that what we're talking about? That type of phone?
Yep. So whatever he was doing, there's somebody on the inside cloned
damaging
phone,
stuff. A hidden phone.
Authorities.
Who's the phone belong to? Whose phone? I'm sure the phone is probably in the name of Bad Boy Enterprises. You know, the bad boy. Bad boy. Right? Yeah. We shall see. He purposely left the phone behind. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about the phone. You have a magnolia tree in your front yard. Nice. Water the tree.
You have a message.
Yeah.
June 9th motion. Filed. Conversation with KK. Phone. A phone was planted by the FBI after the raid, and Diddy fell for it and was messaging staff on it. Goes back to, how can KK not testify? But will she testify? Or will KK be in the hot seat like Diddy? If she doesn't testify, she could be in the hot seat like Diddy and humiliated herself, but KK's not. No way KK goes to any trial. If she doesn't testify, then she's a co-defendant. But if she's a co-defendant, which we all know she is, co-conspirator, does she testify? Or does she take it to trial? Take it to trial. Does he take it to trial? New evidence, and his attorney knew about it and didn't turn it over. Does that mean his attorney some sort of sanctions? Rule 11 sanctions? A phone was found and portion filed on 9th to admit. Yes, new evidence, and his attorney knew about it and didn't turn it over. It seems Diddy said to KK, this phone has a lot of evidence against him. All right, so everyone's coming out with the information on the phone. That has been talked about. Why is the media talking about it? Why is the media talking about it? It has Diddy's voice telling the person to delete. Dirty delete.
Delete that, delete that, delete that.
Diddy found a phone and told on himself. Another nail in his coffin. Yeah, so yeah, a lot of people have been talking about the phone for the last 24 hours. Basically, Diddy self-snitched. Texted KK Feds. Missed the phone. Get rid of it. Sounds like obstruction of justice to me.
Yep.
Sounds like obstruction of justice to me. Sounds like hiding and destroying evidence in a case.
It's over.
Even though he technically could be indicted for that, they would probably just pile it on with the RICO and enhance it. You know, you can obstruct justice in a case on a federal level, and your base level is something for RICO. And the obstruction of justice, I believe, is 6 additional points on the federal sentencing guidelines. So they don't not necessarily have to indict him for it, but they can enhance him. The hidden phone. Are we going to hear more about the hidden phone? Judges on the bench. All right, folks. New news here. The judges on the bench. Judges on the bench. Gonna get everything in order here. Goes on to say, before we bring the jury in, Judge, the messages at issue that the defense wants to get it. Can't you redact them? Garagos, we shouldn't have had it. It's consistent with our theory. They opened. And the judge interrupted Garagos and said they didn't open the door. The message at issue that the defense wants to get it. Can't you redact them? The judge asks. Try to find out a little bit about what that means. Talking about messages. Messages. Judge is back on the bench. See what the Washington Post says. I want to know about this phone. What's going on with the phone? Sketch artists in court. Everyone's in court. I wish we were able to see who comes in. A little different today. But we shall see. Combs Packing Corp. Hello, everyone. So the phone
The phone.
instructing people